tuning in for another D6 pack video. Today I'm going to be going over the game Expancity by Breaking Games, but before I do that, if you appreciate this video, please like and subscribe. Also follow us on any of our social media at D6 Pack Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Also check out our audio podcast, which releases on the second and last Thursday of every month. You can find that on pretty much any of the podcasting streaming apps. So with that, let me show you this game. So as far as the setup for Expancity goes, this is pretty much all you need to do. Each player gets a stack of 6 of their own tower pieces, and then they place 1 on the scoreboard. 3 public goals are placed out on the board for all players to see. The City Hall tile is placed in the center, and the stack of contract cards is placed off to the side. And then finally, each player will draw out 2 zoning tiles from the bag, and those will be secret. I'm going to show you my hand just for explanation purposes, but I also replaced one of the tiles just for sake of explaining this game, but that's it for setup. Then as far as gameplay goes, each player's turn is conducted in a set of phases. The first phase is the zoning phase. So players will decide one of their tiles to place out into the city, and that's it. Then we proceed into the building phase. During the building phase, players get to take up to 3 actions, and there are 2 types of actions which can be taken. One is simply to take another tower piece and add it to your supply from the box, or you can place one of your tower pieces onto a zoning tile that you have not already placed on that turn. Once you've taken all 3 actions, your build phase is complete, and you then go into the completing phase. This is where you can decide whether or not you want to cap some of your buildings in order to score them. There are, however, rules to when you're able to cap a building. For example, in a green residential area, you have to cap a level 1 building before you can build a level 2, and so on. The highest residential building that can be built is a level 3, so you can't go beyond that. However, blue buildings are a little bit the opposite. They have to be a minimum of 4 tower pieces high before you can cap them, and then they go sequentially after that. But there is no max build height. Then once you have decided to cap a building, you will then score it, which is going to depend on the tiles that are around that one. So for example, this park or fountain piece adds 1 point per tower piece adjacent to this tile. That is for both blue and green pieces. So if let's put this here for example's sake. If we were to cap this piece at this point, we would score 2 points per tower. It's 1 standard plus 1 for the park piece. So if that were the case, we would move green's piece up 2 spaces. Then the green player would take 2 contract cards and choose one of those to keep secret. These are going to be like private objectives that you can complete on future turns, or potentially you could complete it this turn, but you turn them in during the completing phase in order to score the points that are shown on this card. So for this example, this says that you need to complete a 3-story residential building. That's a pretty easy one, but it also has fairly low points. Then we go into the planning phase. This is pretty much just like restocking. The player will draw 2 tiles out of the bag and choose one of those to replace the zoning tile that they played at the beginning of their turn. The game continues like that until the bag is emptied, and then final scoring includes the public goals. So these are something that everybody knows that you can go for, but you don't score them until the end. So you can really tug of war back and forth with your opponents to see who is going to get these public goals. For example, we have most residential completed, most total properties controlled, and the tallest tower. There are other tiles or public goals in the box. These are just 3 that I set out at random for this game. And then whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. So that's it for Expancity. I really enjoyed this game. This one came out at Gen Con last year, I believe. And I was excited to see how this one would be, but when I played it, I was like, okay, this is a game that I need to get. They were selling a limited number of copies at the convention that day, so this was one of the games that we ran for the next day, and we were lucky enough to get a copy. What I really like about this one is that the sequential order of the turns makes it very easy to explain. You have limited number of options as to what you're going to do on your turn, so there shouldn't be a lot of analysis paralysis there. But there's also a lot of strategy in this, in where you place those tiles and whether you're going for residential or commercial. How you're going to score those points can really vary from player to player and game to game. As far as negatives, the only thing that I would really complain about is that the bag that came with the game was too small. Some of you may recognize this bag. We couldn't really even get our hands in the bag that came with the game, so it needed to be replaced. But overall, it's a good game, and if you're watching this March 12th, the day that it came out, then today we are going to be playing this game live on Twitch tonight at 8 p.m. So please join us for that and check it out. Let us know what you think of the game. If you're not able to join us, please let us know your thoughts about Expancity on any of our social media at D6Pack Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Thanks for watching. Bye.